Rolling.
What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. This episode is the countdown to Neil's heart attack tomorrow when Real Madrid faces Chelsea, his team. But we'll get to that because he doesn't believe in the team that he loves. But hey, that's just Neil. And we got Leon, and want to give a shout out and thanks to our producer, Aaron Brungardt. Martin's going to be late, just like Bale's appearance in the Tottenham Hotspur lineup for the entire season. Who knew he had like 4 goals or 3 goals in him in one game? But we'll get all to all that. This podcast, if you're watching, is on YouTube. If you're not watching, you can go to YouTube, type in Ian Edwards or Ian Soccer Comic Rant Edwards. You can listen on Omni, iTunes, allthingscomedy.com. If you go to allthingscomedy.com, we got a host of other comics there doing their own podcasts, like Bill Burr, Bert and Bill Kreischer, Tom Popper, Eric Griffin, just tons of comics, tons of talent, tons of funny. Tiger Belly, just go there and check it out. The sponsor for this podcast is On the Volley, apparel.com. You go there, they got tanks, hoodies, t-shirts, and sweatshirts with hip-hop soccer logos and emblems on the front. It's a dope crossover. And use my promo code Comic Rant, you get 20% off. And right now, like I said before, the guests are Lee Hudson, Southampton, unvaxxed fan, comic from England. Why you not vaxxed, Lee?
Because I'm too young. We're doing it by age here, so yeah. I mean, I'm in the next group. I'm not that young. I'm in the next group, but
just
I'm waiting on the call. You can't put yourself forward for it. I've got to wait to be called. So
just bragging.
We love a cue here. This is how we do it.
How old are you, Neil? If you mind saying it.
I'm 34.
Oh, so you're younger than Lee, and you're vaxxed. All right, just checking. That's how they do it in San Diego.
You know. I had a letter. That's all I'm gonna say.
A doctor's note?
Yeah.
So did you get for saying what?
Well, here's the thing with the whole vaccine thing here. By law, they're not allowed to ask you why you qualify. I don't know if that's California law or federal law, but they're not allowed to ask.
That's the same law of boarding a flight ahead of everyone. If you have any sickness or illness or any reason why you need to get on the flight early above all the other classes that people paid for, you can board now. And all you have to do is limp or not limp. Nobody's going to ask you why you should get on this plane. So that's why I don't believe in none of that buying any of those airline class things. I just walk on the flight.
No, and so I looked at the numbers. I think initially there was a thing like, well, you kind of have to wait your turn because there's people who need it more than you. But then after a point when the math is in your favor, and
the math is in your favor.
Math is in your favor, and you see this country actually has a very vigorous anti-vaccine movement. So I'm like, I'm not waiting for those fuckers.
Compared
I'm not waiting for those fuckers to make up their mind.
The anti-vaxxers?
Yeah. Not gonna be at their women fancy.
Hilarious. And what's going on with India right quick before we get into football? We spoke about it a little bit last week.
Yeah. Well, the curve has flattened, but it's flattened right at the peak. So yeah.
That's the only reason why it flattened.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they can't keep up like with the counts and stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's a lot of help coming in terms of funds and as I said last episode, like in terms of resources, the government's kind of like just taken a backseat. Like people are just doing it on their own. So I actually every day volunteered a couple of hours it's almost like a call center that takes in calls from people who need a specific kind of thing, like either ICU bed or oxygen cylinder or an ambulance, certain drugs. And then there's a database, but then you also look up Twitter and try and call those hospitals and verify if it's actually a current information, and then hook these two guys up. So a lot of such groups have gotten together to help. So
that's pretty dope. Get in there, Neil. Get in there. It's also very like stereotypical, like tech support
to get the call center going,
to get the call center going. Yeah,
but it's in reverse.
But-
The reason why call centers became so big globally is because American users needed support 24/7. So we had people back sitting in India doing the support while employees in America wanted to go to sleep.
Right.
Now it's the reverse. I'm doing it in the day hours so that folks on the ground there can get a breather.
Now people in India know how it feels to call for help in your country and get somebody outside of their country.
Yeah, I'm like, hello, this is Ramesh.
And they're like, man, your English sounds too good. You sure you're in India? You sure you could help me? But that's cool. That's
Thankfully, I
pretty
know a
dope.
few languages. That helps.
How many languages do you know?
I know. I mean, in terms of like being fluent in speaking, I know about three and a half. So Urdu and Hindi are very similar. So I can speak in since I know Hindi well, I can pretty much speak in Urdu too. But like conversationally, and then I know Bengali, which is my ethnicity from, and English.
English, all right. It's more than me, bro. You got me. Would you got any other languages, Lee?
No, some very basic French and German, and that's it.
All right. Which means Lee could probably speak fluent.
He's
pretty modest, you know. All right, guys, let's get to some of this football. So I should probably wait for the Mourinho to Roma thing before Martin gets here.
Oh, yeah.
So let's wait. Let's hold off on that because that's related to him.
Yeah.
But let's get to this Champions League. PSG mauled to death by Man City. They weren't mauled to death, but because I was watching PSG ball in the first half, and I was like, they have good footballers in the middle of the field, and they can hold on to the ball. They can get out of pressure situations, but they definitely lost their composure after the 2 goals went in. And what did you think of the game? And then I have another question after. What do you think of the game, Lee?
Well, I think like City had to do a lot of defending. I mean, the amount of blocks that like Diaz and Stones and Zinchenko made, like, they had to do some defending tonight. I think PSG gave it a good go. I think they missed Mbappe not being in the starting lineup with his carrying an injury. There's a lot of confusion over that when the lineup came out. Everyone was like, he's dropped Mbappe for the semi-final, but then it turned out he had an injury. So yeah, but I mean, there was a big chance which I think could have changed it. I think City had only scored 1 goal, and then they tried to play out from the back quickly, and the ball fell to Di Maria, and it went just past the post when it was sort of a half-open goal. I think if that went in, it could have maybe changed the game. But City just did what they did. They were clinical when they had the chances. Foden played really well, so
yeah.
I'm looking forward. I hope Foden starts the final. I really want to see him like step up on a big stage.
Yeah, I thought he stepped up today, but yeah, man, that kid's. I'm so glad he's English. Like, to have an English player with that type of technical ability and be so young. I'm looking forward to see him play for England like that, because we need players like that. What do you think of the game, Neil?
I actually missed the game. That's what I was gonna say. I missed the game. I had a very busy day at work.
I know you're out there trying to save people.
Well, that, and I'm also trying to save my flexible time for tomorrow.
Okay. All right. For your Chelsea game.
Yeah. So get some more work done today. But I mean, I was following it a little bit online, and it seems like I have the same fear about tomorrow, because PSG started the last game, the first leg, just like how Chelsea did, but they didn't kill it. And you give teams like Manchester City a chance, let them get their foot through the door, they're not gonna like not play well for 180 minutes. So I I guess that's what happened. And they didn't have Mbappe today, so it feels like he's the guy who's been stepping up in a lot of these games.
Let me ask you a question. When you compare, do you think Chelsea is as good as Man City?
I think on our day, yes, but this is tournament football, right? So
Right.
I feel like we can be as good as Man City. Through a 38 game league season, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
But in a one-off game, I think we can go toe to toe with them.
Do you think PSG is a tougher opponent than Real Madrid or vice versa?
I think PSG would have been a easier opponent because it's
because you're
I
not
think
facing them.
I think Tuchel's more comfortable tackling in teams that deal a little more on individual brilliance than systems. And I think Real Madrid has a good system. Man City has a good system. So I think those will definitely test us more.
So, well, I don't want to get into tomorrow yet. I'll just give you my opinion on today. It's today was I guess let me start with individual players and then I'll go into some of the things that I want to say. It's crazy to see a game where a defender has more saves than its goalkeeper. Ruben Diaz saved more shots with his face than Edison saved with his actual hands. But on top of that, it was good to see Foden shine and just grow to the technical heights of his teammates. He's been a young English player in an environment with players of the highest quality, and Pep has like measured his playing time precisely, and now he's just ready to play more and more as his career progresses. So that's pretty dope. I think as far as PSG is concerned, like I spoke to some person and they were like, PSG will never really be good in Europe because they don't have the competition every week in their league. And I think maybe that's a part of it. But I think when you're PSG, you need character at championship moments to get you through. And when your leader is one of the most skilled players in the world, but his character is to flop, that kills you. Because then the other players on the team who are below his skill level, but still highly skilled, feel like that's the thing to do. And that becomes the character of the team. There was one play in the game early on. It was not a handball, not even close. The whole PSG is calling for a penalty. Waste the referee time. He walks over to the thing. I've never seen a referee look at the VAR monitor and be like, and then walk over like, no, it's not a penalty.
Have you seen the accusations PSG have made about the ref?
Yeah, that he said, go fuck. I would have said, go fuck you too. Like, you made me walk over to that monitor. Like, after that, I'm not respecting anybody on PSG. The whole team cries for a penalty, right? All right, okay, there's a penalty. Then they like, hey, come check this out. I check it out. I'm like, fuck you guys. Plus, you dived 40 times before that. Go fuck yourselves. No respect whatsoever. And then then Di Maria stepping on a guy who's older than Lee to get vaccinated foot like that. 36-year-old Fernandinho, they just have no character. Like, even when, that's why I'm thankful for like players like Roy Keane. Like, even when Manchester United had highly skilled players and you had like the Canyon, is it Cantona?
Yeah.
Cantona, who was kind of a star and kind of out of control at times, you still had the Keens to have the character on the team, and that even Cantona had to like listen to. You know what I mean? And hold this whole thing together. And if PSG is going to buy somebody next season, you need to buy somebody who can add character to this team. Because when Neymar was on Barcelona, he had these guys who were highly skilled, like Xavi and Iniesta, but they had so much character to play hard in the moments when you could lose a game or tie a game. And he does not have that now. He's the leader, and he doesn't have that type of character. And
that's fine, because
it's damaging.
PSG are going to go buy Dele Alli, so they'll get that with him.
Can you imagine Harry Kane now being the captain there and trying to give that? You remember, Ian, that whole Braveheart speech he tried to give in the documentary?
the Harry Kane speeches during that what was the name of the documentary on Amazon?
Nothing.
All or Nothing.
All or Nothing. Yeah.
Except when it comes
Spurs All or Nothing.
Yeah, except when it came to speeches. The speeches were nothing. Like,
yeah,
they could not. So yeah, like especially when you see Neymar in the huddle before the game talking to his players, they're like, "All right, Neymar, yeah." And then the first thing he does is dive. Di Maria, first thing he does is dive. He dives, and then you look at the play, and Fernandinho did not touch him whatsoever. And it's like, hey, they just shoveled up hail. The ground is cold. Get up. Who wants to stay on the ground? Here goes the scariest version of Martin I've ever seen in my life. What's going on, Martin? Who punched you in the face?
Sorry for
who did you punch? Who did you punch in the face with your face?
Just getting older.
Just getting older.
I'm trying to kind of look like Lee a little bit. You know, like I'm trying to make myself more. I need a beard though.
Well, Lee looks 35. You look
55. I know.
Yeah,
I can be father.
We were just talking about the PSG Man City game. Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, and I don't mean to say that from the start, but I remember we had this conversation where I defended Riyad Mahrez a little bit, and you were a little surprised that he's playing ahead of Bernardo Silva, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that was his best hour. The both games, he was the best player on the field in both games.
Oh, I'm glad you brought up Riyad Mahrez too, because I do think Riyad Mahrez is a good player, but I still don't think he's better than Bernardo Silva. And I think Riyad Mahrez proves my point by he has no right foot. He scored twice today, but there was another scoring opportunity, and he had to. It was open to the right to take a shot, but he had to put it on his left to shoot and shot it into a defender. Like, you can't be at this level. You got to be able to use your right foot. Like, how old is Riyad Mahrez?
He's like 30 now, I think.
29?
Yeah, like you got to be able to shoot with your right foot. Like he cannot use it at all. It's a kickstand.
Yeah.
Messi doesn't have a right foot, and he's done okay.
Are you sure?
It's a valid point. However, he scored 3 goals in 2 games and pretty much decided that the biggest favorites to win the Champions League this year are going home.
Yeah, but I feel like the way Man City played, if Bernardo Silva was there, he would have got something today. If Sergio Aguero was there or in the center of the pitch, he would have got something.
They both started today, didn't they? I think
Bernardo played behind him, I think.
Mm.
But Riyad Mahrez this season has been playing in the front three, and Bernardo Silva last season was a part of the front three. So in the season, they didn't start Bernardo at all or play him for most of the season, and now they started playing him behind, or they switch him over to the left sometimes. So yeah, he scored today. I give it to him, but I just, when you look at his game, there's still some shit missing. But he's on a great team. Anything else you got to say about the PSG game?
Well, you know, there's the story of the year, story of recent years. Guardiola, who cannot win the Champions League after he left Barcelona, and now he has a chance, and I think he has a pretty good chance. I think if he does that, there's nothing left for him. Nothing left for him to really do.
You know why I'm laughing, Martin?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
I'm laughing because when you say he has a pretty good chance, Neil perks up in defiance against that because he's hoping Chelsea goes through, and you're disrespecting Chelsea.
Chelsea can go through, but I think if they go through, that's it. You know.
Neil, you spoke, but we couldn't hear you.
Yeah,
I think you used the battery on your headset used it up being a call center guy.
No, I think I think regardless of who goes through, they are going to be the Man City are going to be the favorites for the final.
Right.
And definitely, if Chelsea go through, they are the clear favorites. Man City are the clear favorites, but I mean, it looked like today this tie in the first leg that the famous Guardiola fumble in a knockout Champions League game is going to happen, but they came through it, which is a great sign if you're a City supporter.
Right.
They haven't seen that.
Just one more. What do you guys think of Edison today?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say one thing to what Neil said. Apropos, I remember last year, and in recent years, people were trying to say, Lewandowski cannot win the Champions League. Lewandowski cannot win the Champions League.
Who said that?
Finally, he won the Champions League. It was the time. It was the right time for him to win it. And I think this year is the same vibe around City. I think it's the time to Guardiola to finally win Champions League with the City and possibly move on and possibly just quit in the summer. Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to quit.
I think he might. He's kind of a guy who, when he completes a mission, when he feels like he won everything at a certain level, he just moves on.
It's not even that. I think both times, like even when he left Barcelona, the fans were a pain in the ass, and the pressure, no matter how many trophies he'd won, was still as if it was his first week of coaching the team. And in Barcelona, like there was this pressure from the fans, but most of the pressure comes from the ex-players, that kind of like make you feel like you didn't do anything, even though you won some stuff. And I think Man City, like, how can their fan base is not crazy enough to think they could ever do better than Guardiola. Like he won nothing last season, and I didn't hear any pressure. It was just up to him if he wanted to come back. Now he's going he'd have to go on a Wenger run after, Wenger won won the league, the Premier League, and then lost that Champions League, and then just lose for a while in order for them to be like, get out. So he has a Wenger amount of time to fuck this up, which he won't. This is the most relaxing situation for him. There's the money's there, the patience is there, the team he's working with, they're his boys. It's like, this is like not working at all. It's like chilling.
Yeah, I can't see him going anywhere. Like if he wins the Champions League, I think he'll want to take them to do like the Club World Cup and everything and win these things that City have never won before.
Yeah.
The club's set up for him. Like, they've got technical directors and people above him who were brought in for him.
Right.
And I think he'll be excited by the prospect of like a little mini rebuild with Aguero leaving this season. So he's got to replace a player there. I think I can't see him going anywhere regardless of what happens in the final.
Also, there's like not a lot of jobs available.
Oh, there'll be jobs available. If Barcelona doesn't win anything, there will be a job available, in my opinion.
But none of those jobs this job is the perfect job. You don't leave the perfect job. You leave the imperfect job to try to find the perfect job.
No, but also when you were a genius on his level, you see things like a chess player 2 moves ahead of time. And City, they had a run. They had a run for the last couple of years, for let's say 5 years, And now, you know, certain players are getting older. Silva already left. Aguero is leaving. Soon De Bruyne will get older. Mahrez, all those guys will get older.
How old is De
Mbappe already
Bruyne?
got older.
How old is De Bruyne now?
I mean, eventually he'll get older, and there is a moment
But
to
We
leave.
all get older eventually.
Yeah,
No,
but
there's a moment. Let's say he becomes coach of Spain or coach of Argentina.
how is he gonna do that? He'd have to leave a perfect situation to do that.
What else he has to do? I mean, he already made a lot of money. He won all the trophies. What else?
I remember
Okay,
a
you
few
don't
weeks
wanna-
ago, Martin said that Hansi Flick wouldn't leave Bayern. So I'm not taking Martin's managerial punches.
You see, at that time I didn't think that he will leave, but now and Juventus itself, that will be a challenge for Guardiola. He was mentioned before as a potential coach of Juventus in the future. That was mentioned like a year or 2 years ago that he might go to Juventus. You know, so Juventus might not qualify to the Champions League. They're fourth right now. So yeah, I think that could be a possible challenge for him to win a title in the fourth league in his coaching history, to have full backing, to bring players, to work with top talent.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference between Mourinho and we're gonna get to Mourinho, but here's the difference between Mourinho and Pep. Pep has more patience. When he leaves, or like before he took the Barca job, he took a break. You know what I mean? And then he took a job that was a best case scenario for him at the time, Bayern. And then he leaves the Bayern and takes another job, which is the best case scenario. So why would a guy who picks the best case scenario every time choose a worse scenario? It just doesn't logically make sense.
It's still
going to Juventus. You're going to leave a team with money that everybody in the technical department who runs the club are your friends. You won the league, another league in another country, and now you're chilling in England. You have money. Why would you go to Juventus? Juventus don't got money.
Oh, they have money. They have a lot of money. They paid for Cristiano Ronaldo like $100 million. What do you think? They don't have money.
Now that's why they don't have money.
They paid $100 million for Higuain and then let him go for free. You know, of course they have money. They have plenty of money.
But they don't have Man City money.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They're way above everybody else in Italy financially. Even if Inter did spend some money.
Yeah,
and I think it's a perfect situation where Inter is now winning the league in a style that Juventus did for years, like beating everybody. And it's a challenge. He will have Conte, he will have Mourinho in the Italian league. It looks like a good playground to prove something again, you know? Like I understand what you're trying to say, I understand your arguments, but at the same time, one thing that Guardiola has proven over the years is that once he accomplished everything in a certain situation, he moved on. And it looks like if he wins the Champions League, there's nothing left for him to win with the City.
There is Club World Cup.
Come on.
Super Cup. Things City have never won before.
Yeah.
World Cup.
Yeah, after the Club World Cup and all that. Yeah, I don't think you're right, Martin, on this one.
There's no right or wrong. Either will happen or will not happen. You know.
Will not.
Okay.
I think he does one, maybe two more seasons maximum, but I don't think he'll go this summer. I think he'll do at least one more season.
Yeah, I think so too. I say 3, but we'll see. Neil. Juventus. Why Juventus? Why are you stuck on Juventus?
Because they need somebody.
Perfect situation, and they have a bad season. They have a lot of money. There will be a lot of good competition next year in Italy. It's kind of revived a little bit because of Inter, because of Milan coming back this season, and Mourinho goes to Roma. It's a perfect situation. He likes to beat Mourinho, and he did it so far every season.
Yeah, so why do it again? That's boring. You just said that he doesn't, if he's achieved stuff, he likes to change. Going to Italy would be like, I know it's winning the league, but he'd be still beating the same coaches. The challenge of Conte, the challenge of Mourinho, he's done that shit.
Sorry. Yeah.
Let's not. We're talking about good coaches here. Neil, how do you think about your Chelsea versus Real Madrid tomorrow? I personally feel, and I told you last time, that you guys fucked up and you didn't win away.
I think we fucked up only on the result. I thought we played one of our best games of the season, that game. But yeah, I mean, you can't really, as PSG, as Man City have shown to PSG, you can't let these teams get second chances. We should have finished off the tie the last game. But I still feel if we play like we played last week, I think we will go through. The objective is very clear. We need to keep a clean sheet. If we keep a clean sheet, we are going through, because a 0-0 draw is good enough.
Are you going to play for the clean sheet? Like, it's such a dangerous thing to play the 0-0 game.
Well, that's how we mostly play anyways. It's not like we go really at it. So, except maybe for the odd game here and there. So I think we will continue to do that. 3 tall center backs, 2 double sixes, and have defensive wing backs. And it's just that whether we are going to leave Timo Werner in the team, because Werner's like he's been so terrible with his goal scoring, but he's still got enough pace to bother some of these center backs and drag them around. But Kai Havertz over the weekend has given Tuchel a good headache. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the team otherwise just picks itself. Whether it's going to be Havertz or Werner up front is the only question.
Werner is like a master of assists. Like you thought you bought a goal scorer, but you just bought an assist machine. Like,
seriously, I mean, if we don't go through, that miss in the first leg is gonna go down like in the Chelsea Hall of Fame of misses.
It sounds like you won't let it go. Lee,
Yeah,
what do you think? Go ahead.
I'm getting a lot of shit online because I really wanted Werner to come to Chelsea. And now I can't stand the sight of him.
It's hilarious. Lee, what do you think about their chances tomorrow? Who you with tomorrow? Real Madrid or Chelsea?
I think Chelsea will get it done. I agree with Neil in that. Like, I think Tuchel he's a pragmatist at the moment. He's not always been like that in his career, but I think at the moment he thinks that's the way that he needs to play with Chelsea right now. Might not be the case next season, but right now that's what he's doing. And I agree with Neil in that they'll play. They'll have 3 solid centre backs. They'll have the wing backs. They'll have the 2 6s sitting in front. It will be a very pragmatic lineup. They'll play not just to not concede. They'll still have an attacking threat, but I think they'll be pretty solid. And I could see it being a 0-0 or a 1-0 Chelsea or something. I mean, if it's another 1-1, we get extra time. That could be fun. But no, I think Chelsea will get it done. I've got a bit of confidence in them.
Well, they're going to play like a 5-5 none.
Well, the beauty of what Tuchel is doing is, I mean, what Tuchel is doing, you pretty much don't need to change anything to play defensive right now. So just keep playing this, 3-4-2-1. Leave. I was even thinking like go one step forward, go completely defensive. Take Timo Werner out of the picture. Just leave Pulisic and Mount, who are our best attackers on form right now anyways. Leave them to, if Kovacic, but I think Kovacic is probably not going to be fit enough. But if he was, then like have all 3 of Jorginho, Kovacic, and Kante in midfield. Just completely, suffocate the midfield and just don't let things go beyond that point.
And then they just get one. Then Real Madrid just gets 1 goal and goes through. All right. So, Martin, what do you think about tomorrow, Chelsea versus Real Madrid?
Well, completely disagree with what was said for the last.
Of course you do.
And let me state a couple of facts here. There's one guy in the world of football that he's been questioned since he started playing football, and so far he's either winning or almost winning every time, or just winning every trophy possible, which is Zinedine Zidane. So I don't know why people like to bet against him constantly. Why people think he didn't prove that he's been a great player and he's a great manager. His winning record speaks for itself until I see him losing to, you know, in a game like tomorrow. I'm not gonna doubt in him. So I think he'll get it done. And then, you know, the final game against City will be a different type of challenge, of course, because it's Guardiola and it's City. But here in this particular circumstances, I don't see him losing to Chelsea. That would be very unusual and uncharacteristic for Zidane to lose to a team like Chelsea. It would be very, very weird if that happens.
I think Martin is right in the sense that Real Madrid are still the favorites. I mean, if you see the profile of what Chelsea, the team is.
They won the Champions League in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you stack those two lineups against each other, and you know the resumes of those managers, of course, Real Madrid is the favorite. I'm just saying, like, if we play like how we did, but again, that's the challenge. Like this inconsistent team, this young team, can it, you know, go and do it again against a team like Real Madrid twice in 2 weeks? That's the challenge. But if we do, I really back our challenges, our chances.
Well, I heard Ramos is fit. He's playing. Folks, this is monumental. I'm going to agree with Martin and everything that he just said as far as Real Madrid. I think when we're thinking of Chelsea, listening to Neil's argument and Lee's argument, it feels like it's an argument from the side of just looking at the Chelsea squad and not looking at what Zidane has at his disposal and what Zidane does when he doesn't have players at his disposal. Like Hazard played this week in the league, and I saw him warming up for you guys, and he was off a little bit. You know, he had some chances in La Liga, which means he should be on target tomorrow. And Isco played, and you know, Casemiro's out there, Rodrigo, and they had
it's an all-star lineup. I know that.
They had some right back. I don't know if he was a back this week. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like Zidane, I don't know if it's out of desperation or what, but he'll pull some player out of his ass that you never heard of and make that person have a good game. Just because the team needs that player in that position that you never heard of to do something. And I just feel like next year is Chelsea's year more than this year. Like I feel like when both of you guys said stuff about Tuchel being pragmatic, I think it was Lee, and I think it's pragmatic for him to be pragmatic this year because he knows defense wins games and points first, and it's the easiest thing to fix, and he did that at Chelsea. And I'd heard in an interview with him that he's been working on the offense a lot, and you could see what Havertz did this weekend that some of that work is coming through, but I don't think it's progressed enough to beat a guy who's even more pragmatic than him tomorrow.
And also Real Madrid, you see some of these players, like that's exactly what happened in the first leg. Madrid probably had one or two decent shots, and they didn't even get a goal from that. The one they actually got a goal from was an absolute worldie, and they have those players like Karim Benzema can have, you know, conjure moments of magic like that. If Eden Hazard's playing, he can do that. We don't have those kind of players that we can trust to deliver at that level.
Warner.
Yeah. Struggling to score rebounds against West Ham. So, but I think that's the problem. Like if these teams were equally, like Real Madrid had a very bad game and we had a very good game, it still ended 1-1 because we have inconsistency in our attack and they have absolute world-class quality that make sure that they just need maybe 5 good seconds in the entire game.
Yeah, I think you mean a split second, bro.
Yeah.
Because that Benzema goal was on some split second shit.
Yeah.
Let's go Mourinho to Roma. Martin, go ahead.
Well,
he's your boy.
God bless. He's our former manager at this point. We're at the same boat. You know, the teams that used to be coached by Jose Mourinho. So he's not my problem anymore. He's not your problem anymore. He's Roma's problem. I saw Zbigniew Boniek on Twitter. Somebody sent me a tweet because I'm not on Twitter anymore. So Zbigniew Boniek, who is a Roma fan and he's former player and now president of Polish Federation, is very happy about the Mourinho hiring. Well, listen, he keeps getting those jobs, even in it looks like his idea of playing football is kind of not there anymore with modern trends. Although Italian league is a little bit more conservative, so we'll see. Still, I don't see that. I think he is at this point just collecting coupons for the stuff he earned in the past. A week ago there was an information that he's gonna be working for, I think, the Sun during Euros as an analyst for pretty big chunk of money. So it looks like he's doing it for money now, I guess.
No, or he's gonna do that, scout players for Roma during the Euros, and bring them to the team, and then keep it moving. But go ahead, Lee. What were you gonna say? I missed what'd you say?
I hope he brings Eric Dyer. I hope he started scouting Eric Dyer and Serge Aurier. Those are the two I would recommend.
Oh boy. Go ahead, Lee. What do you
Well,
think?
it was one of their best players this weekend, but it was Sheffield United, so we'll get to that, I'm sure. But I think Mourinho to Roma, it's a strange one. I always thought Italy would be one of the leagues where he might still get a job at a reasonable sized club, purely because of the style of football that is played there. And Roma are in a bad way right now. Like, they're 7th in Serie A. They're 9 points behind Lazio in 6th, and Lazio have a game in hand as well. So they're potentially 12 points behind their biggest rivals. So Fonseca, who was there previously and will be till the end of the season, not doing a great job. So he hasn't really got much to improve. Like, he hasn't got a high bar to improve on.
Right.
The bar's pretty low there right now. So I think he might improve on it. He might get them into the top 4 maybe next season, depending on what happens. But I just think they've got like a really weird squad. They've got a lot of old players. I don't know if he's the man for the rebuild. And also there's a lot of players there that he didn't get on with at places. Like Mkhitaryan's there, Smalling's there, Pedro's there. Like all these guys that he's had problems with.
These are all his ex-players, yeah.
Yeah, like it just seems weird to me that he's, I don't know, like it's a strange move. Like, I thought Tottenham was his last roll of the dice at a decent sized club, which is generous to Tottenham.
What was the situation? What was the situation with Pedro? Did he snap him for Chelsea, or he brought him to Chelsea?
But he brought him to Chelsea and got sacked a month later.
Right? He was supposed to go to Man U, and then he went to Chelsea. That's what happened.
So actually he was supposed to go to Man U, and then we snatched him, and he came to Chelsea. Then within a month or so, Mourinho gets sacked, and he's then coaching Manchester United the next season.
Yeah.
So I think there was Pedro did some interviews where he wasn't very complimentary about Mourinho as well.
Okay.
Well, Pedro's old anyway, so he's about to be out. Dzeko.
That's what I mean. Yeah, they got an old team.
Yeah, but they have some young players. But
that's perfect. Mourinho keeps cribbing about how players from prehistoric times were so much more better. So yeah, now deal with these guys. Say them.
What do you think about the move, Neil?
I think the move just reflects the reality of where Jose Mourinho is right now. His stature is to coach the 7th place team or the 8th place team in Serie A. I think he conned himself into the Spurs job, and
he what himself into
kind of like
Spurs job?
Conned himself, not himself, but like he conned the club. And convinced people like Daniel Levy that, oh no, I'm not the old Mourinho. I've changed my ways. I have this new assistant coach. Look, he's got this attacking philosophy with him. And but then he gets sacked, goes on Instagram, puts his entire CV on show. If you see his last 9 pictures on Instagram, it's all about him winning the Premier League, him winning Champions Leagues and stuff. And Yeah, looks like he was just putting himself in the shop window. I'm
It
surprised he
worked.
took the job so quickly, though.
I mean, he has a bigger resume than Roma has recently, so they're like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know, where Roma saw his Twitter and was like, why don't we have this guy? It's
Yeah.
weird for Roma, a team that I was doing some research, light research, and they don't have a lot of money. And to spend all your money on a coach is crazy. Like that's like Mourinho gets paid a lot. Like how much like the Spurs had to pay him off? Like I think they owed him like 20 mil. How much did we owe him? How much did Chelsea owe him? Or just when he demands a lot of money, and if you don't have a lot of money, don't you want that money on the field as opposed to on the sidelines? Can't you do some research? Like Roma's gonna get what they deserve. They did a hacky move when they got Mourinho. You got to be like Leipzig. You got to be like Borussia Dortmund and find the next guys who are going to be the next guys, and have them come to Italy, create a new philosophy that fits within your budget, and move your team forward. The good thing is, it is a low bar at Roma right now. They're finishing 7th. And my other question is, now that a team that got beat, how much did they get beat by Man U? Last
6-2.
6-2.
6-2.
Yeah.
They didn't play for the coach last week when he wasn't going to be fired. What are they going to do on Thursday against Man U? Like,
Did you see how their coach dressed at Old Trafford?
I can't remember.
I wouldn't have played for that guy. Let me see if I can find a picture.
But let me tell you this, Ian. You know, like here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Roma, you get Mourinho. We live in a different world right now when different stuff matters. You know, like maybe they have financial problems. We don't know that, right? So when you get Mourinho, you get a celebrity. Yeah, pretty much that's what you're getting, a celebrity, and you will be in the spotlight. Your games will be shown. Your games will be talked about. People will watch his press conferences. People will watch his gimmicks. And who knows? Maybe there's another secret deal to do another All or Nothing about Roma next year, right? And they put cameras in Roma's locker room, and they'll do another documentary. So that's what they're doing. They're getting a celebrity. They're like a low budget film trying to hire Lindsay Lohan or one of those former stars.
So they're a B movie
Yeah.
studio doing B movie shit. So they never intend to produce an A movie.
No.
They just got a ex-A-lister to play to coach their B team. All right. So they have no intention of winning. And this is gonna end in an argument because Mourinho's desperate, so he takes the job. Roma lies to him because they know he's desperate and he'll take the job, and they're not gonna spend any money, and he's gonna get pissed, and they're gonna lose, and the cycle repeats itself. All right, I get it.
I mean, it was supposed to happen at some point. Right? Like the dude can't keep having top jobs all his life when the performance aren't there. So I think we're just seeing the beginning of that.
I mean, it's getting worse with every single job. He's getting worse. You know, like he still won at his second stint with Chelsea. He still won a title, but then he didn't win the title with United. Arguably the team wasn't that great, but he didn't win. He didn't win, but he still won something with United. He didn't win anything with Spurs. So it's right. Getting worse.
He hasn't competed for a significant trophy in 6 years, like either the Premier League or the Champions League. He hasn't competed for, forget winning. Like he hasn't even come close in 6 years. So,
I mean, listen, man, the Europa League is a huge title, bro. Don't be disrespectful. I didn't disrespect Chelsea when they won it.
Well, we didn't give Sarri. That didn't make Sarri like a top tier coach. I'm just saying, like if you look at Mourinho's CV all throughout the 2000s, I think he won the league title, whichever club he was for 8 years out of those 10, plus 2 Champions League, which is just crazy. But then 2013-15 was the last time he actually won something significant, and he hasn't. So, I mean, you might even say that this Roma thing is.
Roma can brag about the same thing. We haven't won anything significant in that amount of time or even more. So let's take him.
Yeah.
And they actually do have history and tradition of hiring coaches at the end of their greatness. In this case, he's past his greatness. But remember, they won the title. They won the title with, I think, Fabio Capello, right?
Capello,
early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they hope this will happen again, that they'll get like a washed coach at the end of his career, and he will turn things around.
I saw something funny on Twitter. Somebody said, "You just know this dude is gonna lose the first 10 games of the season, and then say Rome wasn't built in a day."
Yeah, that was Janusz. That was our friend who was on the podcast before. That was that guy.
Oh, was it his? Oh, I didn't pay attention.
What?
Who
Say
it
that
was.
again, because you kind of broke up, Neil.
Somebody said that you just know that he's gonna lose the first 10 games, and then say Rome wasn't built in a day.
No.
Yeah, that was Janusz who was on our podcast in last.
Oh.
All right. So let's talk a little bit of Premier League, right? Even though I do want to ask a question, what do you guys think? Is Poch the right guy for PSG?
Well, he didn't win. He didn't win again, and he might not win the title in France. So yeah, I mean, if he doesn't win a title in France, it's almost like a stigma in this point. You know, like his teams are playing great football but not winning. So he has to win in France at least. But right now, he's not the favorite to win it because they're not first.
Yeah, he played a Champions League semifinal in England, and he lost in England again, which he's used to losing in England against English teams with Spurs. And he has to like bring character to PSG. And I don't know if he's the guy. He never brought character to Spurs. Not really. Like true characters, like winning something. He got them to the finals, the Champions League, and I feel like it wouldn't be the crazy if they fired him. I mean, you could keep him for a year and see what he does, but that you can find better coaches than Poch. How you feel, Lee?
I think he'll get time there a little bit anyway. Like he came in the season, they were already second in the league when he joined.
Right.
So he hasn't taken them down. He's just kept them where they are, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he was the coach for wins against Barca and Bayern in the Champions League. Obviously, they fell short against City, but there's no real shame in that. I think he's almost not got a free pass, but I think they won't judge him too harshly on this season. But then if he doesn't deliver next season, then he'll be under pressure.
He still has to win the league, though, doesn't he?
I think he can get away with second this year, but this year only.
Yeah. I mean, the whole project at PSG, it seems like, well, what's really happening there? Because the whole point of getting Mbappe and Neymar was they were already dominating the French league before that. So the whole point was to win the Champions League. And yeah, it's been like what, 4 or 5 years now?
Around that.
Yeah. I mean, they've come close. They reached the final, but yeah, I don't know what's the way forward for them.
All right. Let's go to the Premier League. So this weekend, Manchester United was supposed to play Liverpool, but the Manchester United fans stormed the Capitol and the game was canceled. What do you think of Man United fans storming the Capitol and getting the game postponed?
Well, like I told you.
Go ahead, Martin.
Like I told you yesterday, the only rightful solution here will be 3 points for Liverpool, and that should be the solution here for because that's what it is in most European countries, and punishment. You know, in some countries would be minus 10 points to start the next season.
Martin, this is what Martin said to me. He said Liverpool should be rewarded 3 points and a 6-point deduction from Man United on top of that. And my response to that is we would still finish above you.
Perfect
And
response.
that's embarrassing.
About many of us,
You're supposed to be a Super League team, and if a team
don't change
above you loses 6 points, you're still ninth or wherever you fell to this week.
We're sixth. Come on.
You say 6 like it's a proud number. But
in the circumstances, we have Mourinho. It's good. It's nice.
So, and we'd still finish top 4. And if we didn't finish top 4, we still get in the Champions League through the Europa League if we win, and you still wouldn't be in the Champions League. So, yeah, that's what I think of your solution. So Neil or Lee, go ahead. Go ahead, Lee. What do you think? You were there in England. How did it feel? What was going on there, and what's your thoughts?
On the field.
I don't care about that club. The Glazers can have it as long as they want. No, I think the fans, they wanted to make their voice heard. Some of the ways that they did it wasn't the best, but I think, they made a statement, which is what they wanted to do. I think not everyone understands the situation there in terms of what the Glazers have done. The amount of money they've taken out of the club, and the none that they've put back in. So, a lot of the pundits didn't really understand the full situation, which was interesting. But I think, some of the stuff the fans did wasn't correct, but I think they made their voice heard, which is what the overall goal was there.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so Neil, just finish up the last part. I missed it.
Lee.
Lee, just repeat the last part. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I think, not everything the fans did was correct, like assaulting police officers and things like that. The police don't always behave in the best ways in those situations anyway, though. They sort of resort to force pretty quickly. These guys, it was breaking and entering, but I think they're just so frustrated with the amount of money the Glazers are taking out of the club and the amount they've drained the club, kind of thing, and they want to make their voices heard. So they've made their point, and I don't know what it will get done, but I can understand the frustrations and why they did it.
All right, Neil, before you go ahead, let me just tag something that Lee said. Like, if the media or people who are not being paying attention, nobody wants the mob, the Italian mob, in your business, right? Because basically what the Glazers are doing to Manchester United they're doing what the mob did to that bar in Goodfellas. They made themselves partners and owners, and they drain all the money out. And then once all the money's drained out, and the bar can't exist anymore as a bar because it owes too much money, then you just burn it down for the insurance money. And they're the ones that get out of it and make money. And then the club and its fans are left with this burnt out spot that used to be Manchester United. So the fans are angry that the Glazers are good fellas fellowing their club, right? So just to elaborate on that. So Neil, what do you have?
I mean, it's not like the fans haven't tried every other way to raise their voice against the Glazers.
Right.
This has been going on, I think, even before fan protests against owners were widespread. I think United and the Glazers were one of the first prominent ones. I think I heard somebody, was it Graham Souness on Sky, who said that
he didn't have a clue.
Yeah, he said something bizarre about, well, where were these guys when United was winning? I'm like, dude, did you sleepwalk through the end of the 2000s? I remember David Beckham picking up the green and gold, is it called the Newton Heath colors of
the yellow and green,
yeah. And I mean, that
the
was
Norwich colors.
That was on the Champions League game, right? So I mean,
The
this was
fans
happening
literally
even.
set up another club, FC
Yeah,
United
they
of
did.
Manchester. Like they
Right,
literally
right,
set
right,
up
right.
another club.
Right. So it's just bizarre, like when these guys try to like move the narrative away from, yeah, sure, a few fans, overstep the line, as it always happens in
Right.
any protest, but that shouldn't take away from the purpose of what happens. And hey, if you guys are really that bothered about it, get a few extra security folks in your protecting this product which goes out across the world. You just leave a few folks out there to deal with it. Did you not know this was happening?
Well, they spend as much money on security as they spend on defenders. So yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yes, probably
Are we
Glazer
frozen?
there.
I think my screen is frozen.
It's probably
I don't know what's
Glazer
going on
skimping
with
off
the
even the
internet.
security money. Ian, you all right?
No, he got frozen, just like the game. just like the table, Premier League table with Liverpool and Man U, frozen.
Yeah, I just got kicked off my own podcast. Jesus, it's great.
How does it feel to be Malcolm Glazer? Oh, is it Malcolm? What's his
Shit.
name? Joel Glazer.
There's two of them, two brothers. Yeah. Well, my thoughts on it is, Martin, did you say your thoughts besides you want us to get points
I did. I'm waiting
deducted?
for you to say your thoughts because you told them yesterday, because I want to make a comment that will be kind of a segue into what happened today, but please do your thoughts.
All right, cool. So my thoughts are, listen, I love that the fans got active and went out there. To me, this is equivalent to like you live in a country and your government is running amok with the finances of the country and causing inflation and devaluing your money. And it's just harder and harder. You have to spend more money to live in your country. So the fans have to spend more money to go to games because the owners take the money out the club for themselves and raise the ticket prices to balance stuff out. And like football is a circle of life. Everybody needs everybody. Even if you own the club, you need the fans because the fans have the money that make you make money. So if the fans are like, hey, we don't like this, the customers in America is like the customers always come first. But the Glazers who have businesses are not looking at it like this. If your customers are not happy, they won't spend money, or they shouldn't. And that's another way I think the fans could actually react to this. Like some people on here, Neil and Lee, mentioned that they were for everything that happened. It's just unfortunate that there was, some police got hurt or some other people got hurt, and we're all against that. But we are for the protests and for the protection of the club. Also, if people want to protest, they can protest by not watching games, or when you're allowed to go to the stadium, don't go to the stadium, don't travel abroad, don't buy any shirts. Like, and when the Glazers find out that they're losing money, then they'll sell, and you have more power to make them sell because they're going to watch the value of the club plummet, and that's where you have control, and then you could force them to sell faster. It just has to be a concerted effort. Like, the only thing that bothered me about the protests is the fans. Some of the everybody's had a beautiful time being a Manchester United fans, and some people responsible for that beautiful time are Black and minority players. The Ashley, the Dwight York and Cole, and just other players that have won United fans trophies, and even Pogba now. Like, when those players get abused, these fans don't step up for these players the way they stepped up against the Glazers. And I need them to do that for these players as much as they did it against the Glazers, because if your players are being abused, that's your club, right? That's your club. And these are the guys that are hired to give you moments of joy and pride. So you have to stand up for these people too, as much as you stand up against the Glazers, because the Glazers are destroying your club. Anybody who's racist is destroying your club because they're hurting your players. So I need to see that too, and that goes back to Spurs hiring, what's the name of your new interim coach, Martin? Mason. Like, you're going to tell me when I watch Match of the Day and I see Jermaine Jenas break down a game and he's an ex-Spurs player, you're going to tell me that motherfucker wouldn't make a great coach? I don't know if he has the badges, but the way he breaks down games, it's like every week. And it's not because he's black. It just blows my mind. Like, it's like when you see a really good comic, you see a Patrice O'Neal or Bill Burr, and you're like, as a comic, I want to see that fucking comic because he's good. And it's like the clubs need to stop bullshitting, and the Premier League needs to stop bullshitting about their performative, what is the word called? Performative, I forgot the word. When you act as if you care about your players or ending racism, when you need to get in there and prove that you're not racist either. And the fans need to prove, if they love their club, you got to prove you love your black players too. And that's what I have to say about that. Put the same effort in.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite of an adventurous day, because I don't know if you're aware of that. It's right now it's a big shitstorm on the internet because of what CBS commentator said. He went online an hour ago with public apologies, but he might be fired because when Di Maria got a red card, he said it's an example of Latino temperament, which people found racist.
Who said that?
CBS play-by-play guy, Jim Beglin, and he's now in all sorts of trouble.
He says an example of what?
Latino temperament.
I didn't understand the last word.
Latino temperament.
Temperament.
Yes.
Oh, about Di Maria stamping on everybody does that. Everybody loses it.
And he is now in trouble because people are upset. Like Latin people are upset with that remark.
Yeah, only Latin people could make that remark about another Latin person. And nobody will be upset.
Yeah.
That's the truth about that comment. Only unless he was a Latin commentator, because in New York, all we talk about, like how that's how Latin people are described, and Latin people are not offended, by whoever says it. It's actually a thing of like pride, but yeah, you can't say some shit like that unless you're from that race. Yeah. So but I feel everybody runs hot-headed. Like, there's Eastern European people who are hot-headed. There's they have that temperament. There's people like Eastern European people. You name sometimes some countries and you tell me how their attitudes are, Martin, and I'm like, oh, that's similar to like somebody from another part of the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is somebody like Di Maria has played European football for how many years now? Almost 15 years. And the moment something goes wrong, the only thing you can remember is the fact that he started his footballing career somewhere else. Like that. I mean, that's where stereotypes kind of like, it's not even fair on the viewer, right? Like, this guy's probably not a unbiased commentator at that point, if that's how he's like doing his play, his commentary.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are no stereotypes true? And I'm not saying this one is, but are no stereotypes true?
Well,
or are the only stereotypes that are true are the ones that make you look good?
I feel it's lazy. Like, good. I feel it's just so lazy.
It's a hacky remark, isn't it? To make.
It's a stupid remark. I give it that. Like he didn't have to go there. There's no reason to say that.
I mean, there's actual footballing reasons which we've seen in football over the years for that kind of a red card to happen. Teams behind, teams struggling, teams getting desperate,
Right.
and Pochettino teams. You want to generalize on Pochettino's teams. We've seen that happen with Spurs teams, who certain games they lose their mind. So stick to the football. Don't just go finger pointing at something that's probably not there.
So here is his statement. So he said, "I apologize for my culturally insensitive remarks."
Who's the he?
Jim Beglin, the guy who did the remark.
Uh-huh.
So, "I apologize for my culturally insensitive remarks during the Champions League tie between Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain. I wrongly used a racial stereotype. This was inappropriate and unacceptable. Words have a strong impact, and I fully understand the severity of what I said when Angel Di Maria was sent off. I will learn from this and be better moving forward."
He better take a 23andMe test and see if he has enough Latin DNA in his history to not apologize or not get fired. As I just found out, I'm 50% Latin. I could say that, y'all. See, it wasn't a racial stereotype, But yeah, hey man, like Neil was saying, there's footballing reasons, and there's just the character reasons. Like I was saying earlier, just of PSG period. Like in a game that they needed to win, they just lacked character, and it's a history of a lack of character because ever since this project has started, they just haven't had enough to win the game when you just need to win. Like great AC Milan teams, great Man United teams, character. It's like you're down 1-0 with no time left against Bayern Munich, and you not only avoid overtime, you win the fucking Champions League, and you win the treble when you still have, after you've won the FA Cup and you won the league, and this just games are piled up on top of you. You just need character, man. So that's really the indictment on Di Maria and his team. Like they need someone to like pull them together. So you're right, Neil. That at least said it's hacky, and Neil said there's footballing reasons why this happening. Yeah. Let's see if we can do. Martin, how'd you feel this weekend about your win?
Mason,
Bale.
the best coach in the Premier League. 2 games, 2 wins, 100% winning percentage.
That's a typical Spurs statement. 2 games, 2 wins.
We beat 2 bad teams, which is Sheffield United and Southampton. So there's just beating 2 bad teams.
Yeah, but Bale's goals were quality.
Yeah, no, definitely. And he played Ali. Ali didn't play for such a long time that he was able to grow hair to the point that he had complete different haircut.
I was like, when did Spurs buy Skip Marley? I was like, Jesus, who's that? And then they close up and it's goddamn Dele Alli. That's how long we haven't seen him. Yeah. He grew more hair than Tom Hanks' character did on that island when he was abandoned in 1 year. That's how long Dele Alli's been on an island by himself, not playing. But it's funny to see Serge Aurier play like intricate, classy football. And like, where is that? That's been there. Like he does it once in a while, but that's the Serge Aurier I saw at PSG. Like that first goal to Bale, the chip, like that passes everything.
Well, it's a very simple solution because we played Sheffield United. He didn't have to defend. He wasn't exposed defensively. He could do what he's doing best.
But that's, you say that, but then I remember games against teams that you should beat where they scored on you guys and they made you drop points or they beat you. So even a Sheffield United, or what was the other team you beat?
Southampton.
Southampton. It's like those are not give me games for Spurs, you know. You guys lose some of those games. Neil, what do you think about your tie? Not Neil, I'm sorry, Lee, your tie versus Leicester. And I thank you for that tie too.
We've finally learned how to defend with 10 players. Because the other two times where we have someone sent off in 10 minutes, we lose 9. So the fact that we had someone sent off after 10 minutes and we actually defended and drew the game 1-1, I think is, we finally learned the lesson. But it was a joke of a red card. I still don't know why VAR looked at it a whole bunch and still decided red. It's one of them willed it, and I'm almost 100% sure we're going to get an overturn on it because it was such a stupid decision. But I'm glad we played well, and the guys who were on the pitch worked hard and got us the point. So I'll take it.
I'm starting to believe that VAR works, but just not in England. Like the application of VAR in the Champions League today was good. Like, is that so? Is it? It's the English referee system.
Yeah,
is fucked up because I don't hear VAR complaints from other countries.
Mm.
Like I watch like highlights of games. I watch games, and there's never as many VAR disputes from those other leagues as much as there are in England. It's crazy.
It's because we've gone from having a guy on the field getting it wrong to now a guy sitting in a room getting it wrong, looking at the TV, and it takes an extra 5 minutes as well. Because it's still subjective. But I don't know how a referee can it was the same with the Balbuena red card for West Ham the other week as well. Like someone sat there, watched that 10 times, and then went, "Yeah, that's a red," and then the FA immediately within 2 days go, "That's red." It'll be the same with this one as well. So I don't know how these people are getting these easy calls really wrong. The stuff with the offsides is frustrating, but it's the letter of the game. If it's a millimeter offside, it's offside. It's crap, but it's the rules. Whereas these ones where it's subjective, where it's a tackle, it's like they're getting all of them wrong.
Right.
But I think you guys are really lucky. And because in 2021, you're the worst team in the league, right? And just the bottom three is so bad, just the bottom three is so bad. It's over. I mean, the last 3 teams are going down. I don't think anything will change. Not even a miracle is possible here. The last 3 teams are being deported. So you were lucky in that case.
We still have other teams between us and the bottom 3, though. We're not like one place above the bottom 3. We still have other teams.
But in 2021, you had the lowest number of points, I think, right? In 2021.
Yeah, but the season, it's the 2020-2021 season, not the 21 season. It's not an annual season.
Good, but it's not a good trend. It's not a good trend. And I'm hearing that Hudson is definitely leaving. That's what I'm hearing. And I'm hearing Leipzig being mentioned.
Is that the same sources that told you Guardiola's leaving?
Actually, yes. I think the same sources. And in this case, the sources are saying that he has a relationship with Rangnick, and because
they all do.
Because Nagelsmann is moving laterally to Bayern.
That's not lateral.
He'll probably take this job. Yeah.
Which job?
Leipzig job.
Yeah, Jesse Marsch has already taken the job.
Oh, good.
Oh, the American coach from.
You're right.
Yeah, American coach.
He's already gone from Salzburg. It's already
oh shit! That's crazy.
4 days.
He did. Right.
Big up America.
So Hudson Hutton's not going to go there, and Rangnick apparently is now the favourite for the Spurs job.
Really?
Yeah.
You should like that, Martin.
I mean, I like that, but interesting.
Neil, do you think Fulham should keep Scott Parker if they go down?
I mean, they go down. It's not if.
No, I just asked Neil, though. But that wasn't the question, Mark. The question was, should Fulham keep Scott Parker if they go down?
I think they should. I think he's I mean, now the challenge for next season is very different from what was the challenge this season, right? The challenge for next season is to get back to the Premier League. Scott Parker's
Which
already
he
done
did.
that.
Yeah.
So he's the perfect guy for the job. So
Just sack
I
him
think
as soon as they come back up.
yeah, don't stick with him. But I think Fulham's biggest problem is going to be now they went so much all in for this season that they had like 5 or 6 players on loan, and they're all going to be gone now. So now you're suddenly talking about building a team all over again. So yeah, it's not going to be easy, but they can look at the examples of Norwich, Watford, and maybe even Bournemouth. It's possible that all 3 clubs that went down last season will come right back up. So, I think that's something they should take heart from.
All right. I'm going to give out last rights. What's your last right, Lee? What's your last word?
Not much. I mean, in terms of Southampton, I'm just looking forward to the season being over.
So now you're confirming Martin's argument.
Yeah, it's not been a fun second half of the season, but I mean, I don't know if our fans need to start protesting, because we've got owners as well who aren't putting anything into the club and are taking stuff out of the club and not really investing. And if Hasenhüttl does leave, which it could happen, he's fully justified because it's a lack of investment from the board. We've got one of the best managers we've had for a while, and he gets given a lot of power at the club in terms of dictating how, because he's decided how all the academy teams will play as well. He's written like a playbook kind of thing, like this is how we need to play so that the players can feed all the way through. So he's been given a lot of power, but he's not been given much money to spend in terms of improving the team to compete. And in the Premier League, if you stand still, then you get left behind. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the summer with us. But our last games now, we're not going to go down. So there's not really much excitement to be had from them for us.
Who's your owners? Where are they from?
China.
All right. Neil, what you got? Big game tomorrow. How panicked are you?
Huge game. I'm calmer than what I was before the first leg. So, but yeah, it's one of the biggest games for Chelsea in the last 7 years. And I really hope we can. I mean, it doesn't happen often, right? The last time we reached the Champions League final was almost 10 years back. So I'm hoping against hope we can. I mean, this is the team that has had a great defensive record. You can't get a clean sheet. What else can you do? So
there is a fire hazard. I'm hearing there is a fire hazard tomorrow.
That's gonna be like really depressing for me to start hoping from minute 1 that either Reece James or Cesar Azpilicueta completely hacks down and ends Eden Hazard's season once again.
So you want them to get a Latin temperament and Latin temperament hazard?
Yeah.
Martin, what's your last words, bro?
My last words, I think that Real Madrid will take it, and it will be an exciting Champions League final. To be honest with you, if I was completely 100% objective, I would say that Chelsea has no business to be in the Champions League final. Real Madrid, Manchester City is what people want to see, and they'll get it, right?
I mean, that is so true, because if you look at our team, our top scorer in the Premier League is 6 goals. This is just the most.
Who's that?
I think it's Mount and Tammy Abraham together. And
Mount's
a midfielder. What's that?
I was going to say, if you remember the last time Chelsea had no business being in a Champions League final, it went pretty well. Like everyone wanted Bayern Barca that year.
Yeah.
True.
But it's a different team. I don't think this team.
But that team still had Didier Drogba, who scored 6 goals in 8 games in that run. Frank Lampard scoring goals. So.
But I get the sentiment though. They didn't belong in there. You had people who couldn't play in the final. And did you go a man down in the semifinal or a man down in the final?
When man down in the semifinal, but conceded a penalty in the John Terry, and then conceded a penalty in the final. But similar to what this team is, we had Ryan Bertrand playing left back, and we had John Obi Mikel who completely took care of Toni Kroos. Yeah. So we had a mishmash of a lot of players in that team too. But of course, we didn't have those. Right now, we don't have those legends who give you a little bit of a cushion when things go wrong.
You do, but they might not be legends yet. So you might not
Yet.
win until
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
legends. So that's the problem. For me, my eulogy for this episode is like nothing really. It's just I just want to see Manchester United play Roma and see who Ali's going to put, especially after he finds out that the Roma's coach is already gone. I know that's going to make him change the lineup and take chances. And I want to thank the protesters for giving us the weekend off. We go to the Roma game fresh. You know what I mean? And this Thursday is our weekend, and we just need to just finish trashing Roma and get ready for this weekend coming up. And just excited to see Man U play. One thing about Man U, I've been noticing that our back four has gotten better at handling the ball. I think it's a whole season of playing together, and they're finally kind of like getting what it's getting, like how to deal with pressure when people press them. And also at some point people will start giving McTominay and Fred props. That still hasn't happened yet, but Pogba playing in an attacking role with Bruno, Cavani, who just re-signed, so we're not going to lose Cavani, even though I didn't even mind Cavani not re-signing, like, because we have Ahmad, and I think I told somebody else we have Lingard, we have enough attacking, that we have Marshall, we have Rashford, like, and there's people I'm not even going to mention that need to next year be in a rotation,
James,
that play all the time. Say again?
James.
Like I said, there's people I said I won't mention that, I like James, but from what I've seen of Ahmad and Green, why am I Mason Greenwood? But I gotta stop eating these gummies at night to go to bed. It's fucking up my memory. It's really the gummies. I just feel like he's never going to be on these guys' level. They're always going to be ahead of him, and they need the playing time. And there's other people from the academy that has traveled with us to some games and gotten to some games. This other kid, like, he needs playing time, so I don't see a route for James, so yeah, so we'll see. Thanks you all for coming on. Be safe, be smart out there. Neil, is there any specific charity that's legit in India that people can donate to, instead of, because all of them aren't legit. That's for every country. Like last night, like I asked an Indian friend of mine, she's actually in India. We DM'd and she gave me one, and I donated some money to that. So do you know like of a good one? And if you don't know it now, just tell me, and then I'll tack it on to the.
Sure. There's a couple, so I don't want to like. There's a couple of folks who are doing really good work, and but yeah, I'll send that list out to you. There's a couple that have problematic ties who I don't want to amplify. So
yeah, let's not amplify those.
Yeah.
Let's do the legit ones.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all. Thank you, Aaron Brungardt.
Right.
And we'll see you next week when the Champions League final will be set between Man City and Real Madrid. All right, everyone.
All right. Thanks. Right.
I don't think he even heard. Did he hear?
All right, let's take a quick picture.